Hey Bill, welcome to the GAC RMHC Golf Classic. Just want to give you an opportunity here to view your swing at regular speed. We'll let that play on through. We'll put you back in your dress position and we'll go ahead and take a look at a few things for you. So while we got you back here in your setup, let's take a look at your posture. Now your spine's nice and straight, not a tilt. It's a little too vertical. Your legs come down into a perfectly unlocked position. Your arms hang down nice and naturally in front of you and the club works out to the ball. So ideally, all I would do here is I would get you to sort of work your tail out and up, work your sternum out, up and forward. And what that's going to do, it's going to increase the angle to your spine. And then from there you can keep your legs unlocked exactly how they are. Continue to let your arms hang down exactly as they are and let the club work out to the ball. So just a slight redefining of your posture. And when we do this, what it's going to do, it's also going to shallow out your original address plane. So we want to take a note of this. It would set at more about 45 degrees. Okay, so I'll remember that as we move forward with your analysis here. Next thing we want to observe has to do with your alignment. See your feet running in this direction here. Carry that out towards the fairway. Now theoretically your club face is supposed to run parallel to your feet. Parallel lines on camera would have an appearance to converge. And with that scenario, we can see we're set up right at the corner of the fairway, meeting that body of water. So maybe a little bit too far to the right, but not too bad. Let's go ahead and do a little split screen comparison here with you and Jordan Spieth. I've got some color-coded lines up on the screen just to use as a visual reference as it pertains to swing plane. Now, again, what I was talking about with your posture, get your tail out and up, get your sternum out and forward. See how Jordan's spine's a little bit more angled. And that's ultimately what we'd be trying to achieve with you. Now as we create our backswing, simply want to turn our shoulders, draw our arms and hands back as well as our golf club. We want to see the club coming back along the red line on plane. Also through the early stages of the golf swing, we want to incorporate some good wrist hinge into play, which means we're going to have to transition the club head from being below and in front of our hands to now getting above and behind our hands, and that's created through wrist hinge. From here we're going to work the club from red up towards the blue-yellow V zone. When we finally set the club at the top of the backswing, we want to have the left arm either on the yellow line, the left arm in the club either on the yellow line, anywhere in between the blue-yellow V zone, or physically up on blue, as we can see here with Jordan Spieth. We also want to create full shoulder rotation, and we want to do this about a very stable right leg. Let's go ahead and watch, and also, we create this rotation while maintaining the axis of our posture. So your entire golf swing is going to function off of a posture position that unfortunately started too tall. Let's go ahead and watch initiate your takeaway here. Your hands draw back nicely. They do have a tendency of moving back a little bit inside, whereby you're taking the club a little bit inside. Shoulders are starting to turn. As long as we get a little bit of wrist hinge here, the club will recover, and that slight inside move is really going to be irrelevant. So we start getting a little bit of wrist cock there, a little bit stiff-wristed through this area of the golf swing, so certainly something you want to learn how to achieve in your backswing is learning how to achieve better wrist hinge for sure, okay? What might happen now is your arms might break down and you might overswing or overcompress your arms due to the fact that we're not creating wrist hinge, because wrist hinge does two things for you. One, it creates club travel in your backswing so we don't have to overswing the arms, and two, it allows you to create speed. So it's like a pitcher. If he didn't cock his wrist, he'd have nothing to snap through when he follows through. If we're not cocking our wrist, it's more like a shot put, so there's not going to be any speed. So let's go ahead and complete your backswing here. When we finally get to the top of the backswing, we see that you've pretty much rotated your shoulders, your arms stay in fairly decent position relative to your core, stable right side. Ideally, we'd like to see a little bit more shallow. I'd like to see you probably have a little bit more turn in behind the ball and get the left arm situated a little bit more down on the yellow line. It's going to put you in a stronger position to come back into the ball from on plane. Right now I'm a little concerned based on this set position. You're probably going to attack the ball a little bit steep and over the top. So from here, let's take a look at Jordan Spieth. What do we want to do on the downswing? Well, we want to move our weight from our right foot to our left. We want to fire our knees and our hips laterally to the target. We want to unwind the core. We want to fire the hands. And in doing so, we got to bring the golf club from wherever we set it within that blue-yellow V zone back down onto red. And that's exactly what we see here with Jordan Spieth. The golf club is returning back to being on plane. Okay. The other thing we want to observe at this stage of the golf swing is the relationship between the lead form and the golf club, I refer to this as the backwards check mark. This simply means the club head is the club head is remaining above and behind the hands. This is what's going to allow us to create a lot of power in the golf swing, aside from the fact that he's also got the ability to hit the ball straight due to the fact that the club has returned back to plane, which is a main criteria in producing straight golf shots. So let's watch you create your transition back into the ball here. Yeah, as anticipated, hands are coming over the top. They're coming down yellow out towards blue. Well, it looks like you're fighting to keep these behind just. Oh, great job right there. Yeah, so even though it looked like an initial over the top move, you're really fighting to keep the club head above and behind your hands. So let's go one more frame here. Yeah, perfect. So let's look at this position. Let's look at the relationship of your lead forearm and your golf club. Nice thing is you got your backwards check mark. So creating some power in your golf swing won't be an issue. The only problem right now is your club is not returning close enough to plane. Okay? Now, if you recall, your setup's too tall, and therefore it's influencing the structure of these lines, the red, the blue, and the yellow. If you remember, I'd said to you that your actual address plane, based on a correct setup, when we get your spine in the right position, is probably going to be situated a little bit more at 45. So let me get you at 45. So we already noticed your club head hasn't returned back to the original red line. So let's label that as line 1. Well, we know you're actually supposed to be swinging the golf club based on line 2. So you're actually further off of plane because the line 1 is irrelevant because it's just out of position based on your setup. The reality is the club should be coming into the ball from line 2. So you're even further away from your plane. So if we go ahead and track the club head coming into the ball, of which we can see it here, we clearly see that your club has not returned back to plane there like Jordan Spieth. And then the other thing we see is his club shaft, due to that, is clearly on a much shallower angle. So he's coming into the ball at about, let's say, 34 degrees. Okay, your club shaft right now is coming into the golf ball at 53 degrees. So it's coming into the ball too steep, a little bit over the top, as anticipated, and the club is going to be attacking the ball a little bit from outside to inside. So let's go ahead and let's go to the next frame here for you, and we'll just track the club head coming into the golf ball. And actually, I do want to put back up, now I got rid of all those lines, let's put back up the actual address plane line, and let's see how this club head does coming in. Okay, so here, let's go next frame. Yeah, so it's way out in front. Okay, so if we just go ahead and connect the dots here, we can get a really good sense as to exactly what that descending plane was coming into the ball. Whereas again, as I've already shown you, his club is returned back to plane, and then it tracks into the ball directly from this red line. So as I've already stipulated, this has to happen in order to produce a straight shot in accordance to our alignment. And then lastly, assuming we've got a good grip and the club face squares up. Okay, so we can get rid of this stuff, seeing that the downswings are vastly different here. And we can take a look at the path of the club. We can see Jordan's club is inside the ball, expanding out to make contact, moves through in a nice natural subtle arc. Your club is stuck outside the ball, dropping down and across to make contact. So there it goes on the way through. Okay? So very simply put, if the club face squares up to that path, obviously what's going to happen is we're going to pull the ball somewhere over to the left. Okay? If we happen to over-release the club to this path, not only do we pull the ball, but now it's going to turn into some form of a pull draw or pull hook, depending on how much that club face released. If we happen to leave the club face a little open, this is when most of the shots are going to turn out, and we'll start the ball maybe just slightly a little further right of that. And then the ball probably has just a little, not probably, it does because the face was open, has a little bit of left to right spin, and we'll just hit this butter fade. If we happen to keep the club face too open to the path, incredibly, we can start the ball even further right, considering the fact that we're swinging to the left. And in that scenario, the club face was wide open, and we're going to hit some form of a block slice. So the end result of your golf shot is dictated based on the timing of the club face, because the club is coming from outside, striking the ball and moving to the inside. If we square the club face, it follows red, potentially being able to hit what I refer to as a pull straight shot due to the fact that we were aimed a little to the right. So that would be a good scenario. If the club face over releases, then it follows the smaller red arrows. If it under releases just by a hair, instead of being a pull straight shot, it becomes a slight pull fade, follows yellow. Not going to be an issue either. And then if we leave the club face too open, it follows blue, and obviously it's a block slice. I like your footwork through the ball. Your right heel's off the ground. Let's just check out and see if you carry yourself through to a finish. So you started to, and then you fell back onto your right side. So just watch the footwork with Jordan Spieth here. His heel's up off the ground like yours. But all you want to do here is, as you keep swinging through, get up off the heel, get onto the toe of your right foot, and let your weight displace itself on the left side. So you want to watch your golf ball fly from standing on your left leg when you're done. That allows your hips to square around, also your shoulders to fully rotate, and then your hands can be high and back and behind you. You don't want to be falling back like you are, okay? And then taking a step out of the swing. Because you're actually creating a really nice footwork back into the ball. So just complete that footwork up on the heel, onto your toe, stand on your left side, and then your finishing position would aesthetically just look way, way better. Before we do a little recap here, let's just sort of see where your club face was through impact. I'm a little curious to see what your club face did with that out to in path. So it definitely closed. Yeah. Okay. So that ball's going low left on you, and it's probably likely going to stay there because you're swinging in that direction and squaring the face to that swing path. Okay. If the club face did remain at all open, it might have an ability to sort of fade back towards the intended target. Anyways, overall, some really nice athletic qualities here. I mean, your hands work well, your hands come back, they fire through. Your core works well, you coil, you uncoil. You got decent enough footwork that you almost get yourself through to a finish. So you can see how much aesthetically better your golf swing is going to look when you do create that footwork and learn how to stand on your left side and stay there and watch the ball fly from that position. We need to definitely change the posture, need to improve that spinal angle a little bit. Then from there, the alignment's just a little off, not that big of a deal, but obviously we'd like to learn how to aim a little bit more parallel left of the target and not set up a little bit right. The biggest thing for you really that I see in your golf swing is once you get this golf club to the top, you got to reduce the over the top move where the hands come over, club comes in steep. Now we're attacking the ball from out to in, and we're trying to pull the ball back to the left. So you got to get this golf club on plane in order to have any form of consistency. Okay? Anyways, if at any point in time you ever want to work on any of these aspects of your golf game, I'm located over at Glen Abbey in Oakville. Be happy to structure a little program for you. Also, if you're involved with any golf tournaments and you're looking for a unique gift to provide your guests, touch base. I'd be happy to discuss my swing analysis services. Anyways, I hope you had a fabulous day, and hope you enjoyed getting an opportunity to see your swing on video. Take care.